The water is choked with mud, decaying leaves, and thick, tangled mats of water hyacinth. It is completely still, masking the absolute terror lurking just inches beneath its dark surface. Suddenly, this quiet Venezuelan swamp violently erupts. A concussive splash ruptures the surface, revealing a primeval struggle of monstrous proportions. A massive female northern green anaconda, Eunectes caimans, has locked its muscular, 500-pound body in a suffocating death grip around a mature, armored, spectacled caiman. The caiman's powerful tail thrashes in desperation, its clawed feet tearing futilely at the snake's thick, scaled muscles, trying to find any purchase in the shifting mud. But with every desperate, agonizing exhalation of the crocodilian, the serpent's coils tighten with mechanical precision, slowly compressing the thoracic cavity, collapsing the lungs, and arresting the flow of blood. This is not a rare anomaly. It is a routine collision of apex forces in the wild, untamed heart of Venezuela. Here, predator and prey are locked in an endless, reciprocal cycle of evolutionary warfare, where a single fraction of a second dictates who dines and who dies. In this unforgiving wilderness, the absolute law of survival is written entirely by a single, unpredictable element: water. The Llanos of Venezuela, a vast, seasonally flooded savanna spanning the immense Orinoco River basin, is a landscape defined by extreme, bipolar transitions. For nearly 9 continuous months of the year, torrential tropical rains transform this parched, cracked clay wasteland into a boundless, flooded inland sea. Water levels rise by an astonishing 30 to 50 feet, swallowing entire gallery forests and drowning the low savannas under a massive aquatic empire. In this drowned world, the rules of terrestrial survival are completely shattered. Land animals must quickly adapt to a semi-aquatic lifestyle, while aquatic predators expand their hunting corridors across thousands of square miles of newly flooded forest canopy. It is a biological dictatorship, where water decides who lives, who dies, and who is forced into tense, localized coexistence. But how does any species survive in a world that completely erases its physical boundaries every 6 months? How would you adapt if your entire home transformed from a scorching desert into a deep, flooded ocean year after year? Drop a comment below and tell us how you think you would fare against such an extreme shift, or if you would simply seek the highest ground. At the absolute foundation of this watery kingdom stands a creature beautifully, almost comically engineered for this dual existence: the capybara. Weighing up to an impressive 146 pounds, this giant rodent is far from majestic, yet it serves as the critical energetic currency that keeps the entire Llanos food web functioning. Capybaras do not survive by fierce weaponry or heavy armor. They survive through highly sophisticated social cooperation, vigilant communication, and sheer numbers. They live in stable, highly organized family groups of 6 to 16 individuals, led by a powerful, dominant alpha male. This leader continuously patrols the boundaries of their wet territory, marking his domain with a sticky, yellow-brown oil secreted from a specialized scent gland on top of his snout, known as the morillo. This pungent scent is an absolute declaration to rivals and predators alike. This family is guarded by a vigilant sovereign. Yet, scent alone cannot deter the ancient, hungry monsters that stalk the flooded reeds. When a predator approaches, the capybara deploys its true evolutionary masterpiece, its perfect biomechanical relationship with water. With its eyes, ears, and nostrils positioned in a straight line on the very top of its head, a capybara can swim with its entire body submerged, remaining virtually invisible to the hungry eyes scanning the surface. If a predator makes a move, they do not run, they dive. Capybaras can vanish completely beneath the dark water, holding their breath for a staggering 5 minutes, plenty of time for most terrestrial hunters to abandon the chase. Water is not merely their refuge, it is their sanctuary, their nursery, and their playground. Even their rearing process is deeply communal. Any nursing female within the group will selflessly feed any offspring, ensuring the collective future of the herd. To extract every drop of nutrients from the tough, silica-heavy grasses, they practice coprophagy, redigesting their own waste to harvest vital bacterial proteins. They are master survivalists of the shallows. Yet, despite these profound behavioral and physical adaptations, the capybara's ultimate destiny in the Llanos is to be hunted. They are the universal prize, pursued relentlessly by every major predator in the Venezuelan wetlands. Jaguars watch them from the shadows of the gallery forest banks. Giant anacondas stalk them silently from the weed-choked shallows, and prehistoric caimans wait to drag them to the dark bottom of the channels. As the wet season inevitably peaks and begins its slow, dramatic retreat, these families of rodents are forced to make a terrifying transition. They must gather by the hundreds around the rapidly shrinking, stagnant mud pools, packing closer and closer together in a tense, claustrophobic struggle for the remaining moisture. The boundaries of their family territories completely collapse, and their high-pitched alert whistles and sharp, defensive barks ring out across the parched, dusty air without pause. They are trapped, and their hunters know it. The stage is set, the players are assembled, and the water is running out. This is the beginning of an extraordinary journey into a world of raw predatory power, primeval survival strategies, and the ultimate struggle for dominance between the land, the shallows, and the deep. If you are ready for this epic journey, drop a comment telling me where in the world you are watching from, hit the like button, subscribe to World Uncovered, and turn on notifications so you never miss more of our upcoming videos. The wilderness is calling, the shadows are moving, and the battle for the Llanos is about to begin. The flooded forest is quiet, but the silence is an illusion. A dappled golden shadow materializes at the river's edge. No twigs snap, no leaves rustle. It is the undisputed sovereign of the neotropical canopy, the jaguar, Panthera onca. In the Venezuelan Llanos, this is not just a land hunter forced to tolerate the wet. This is an apex predator that has evolved to weaponize the water itself. Weighing up to 96 kilograms, the Llanos ecotype of the jaguar is a compact powerhouse of dense muscle and heavy bone. Its coat, a beautiful tapestry of rosettes, is a masterpiece of natural camouflage. In the dappled sunlight filtering through the submerged gallery forest, the cat vanishes completely from sight. It does not chase its prey across the boundless savannas. It waits. It watches. It is the ultimate ambush architect. While other big cats view water as a hostile barrier, the jaguar treats it as a primary highway, swimming across deep channels and diving beneath the surface with the ease of an otter. What truly elevates the jaguar above every other terrestrial carnivore is the terrifying mechanical power housed within its skull. Its bite force is estimated at a staggering 1,500 pounds per square inch. While a lion or tiger relies on a suffocating throat clamp to slowly disable prey, the jaguar bypasses this entirely. Its predatory strategy is direct, brutal, and instantaneous. It drives its thick canine teeth directly through the temporal bones of the skull, puncturing the brain of its victim for an immediate kill. This physical formula demonstrates how the jaguar maximizes its mechanical advantage. It allows the cat to crush the heavily mineralized, rock-hard shells of freshwater turtles and shatter the armored skulls of adult caimans with a single, explosive snap. For an animal of its size, its physical capabilities are unmatched. Have you ever wondered what kind of evolutionary pressure could force a big cat to develop such extreme, skull-crushing power? If you find this level of biomechanical design mind-blowing, Take a second to hit the like button and share this video with fellow wildlife lovers who appreciate the true engineering marvels of the animal kingdom. In the heart of the wet season, when 85 distinct prey species are scattered across thousands of square miles of flooded forest, the jaguar must adapt its hunting style. It plunges into the swift currents of the Orinoco tributaries, swimming quietly with only its snout and eyes exposed. It stalks spectacled caimans basking on half-submerged logs. The cat approaches from behind, silhouetting itself against the dark water before launching an explosive underwater ambush. Ecological tracking data has revealed a surprising paradox. As the seasonal floodwaters crest to their highest levels, jaguar predation on caimans actually increases. One might assume that more water would give the aquatic reptiles the advantage, but the reality is quite different. The rising floods force caimans to disperse into the shallow, flooded canopy of the Igapo forest, separating them from the deep safety of the main river channels. Here, in the shallow maze of submerged tree trunks, the jaguar reigns supreme, dragging 3-foot caimans out of the water and up steep, muddy banks to feed in peace. Yet, the shallow channels are also home to another giant, one that does not fear the golden cat. Beneath the floating carpets of water hyacinth, the northern green anaconda slides silently through the shadows. These two titans have shared the wetlands of Venezuela for millions of years, and their relationship is defined by a tense, reciprocal hostility. While a mature female anaconda is fully capable of constricting and consuming an unsuspecting jaguar, the big cat will readily hunt subadult snakes, turning the world's heaviest serpent into a massive meal of pure protein. Imagine a confrontation between these two absolute masters of their respective domains, one representing the pinnacle of mammalian agility and raw, crushing force, the other representing the ancient, suffocating power of the deep swamp. If such a battle were to unfold in the deep water, who do you believe would emerge victorious? Would the jaguar's lightning-fast strike find the snake's skull first? Or would the anaconda's suffocating coils drag the sovereign of the land into a watery grave? Write your thoughts in the comments section below. The debate among wildlife observers remains one of the most passionate in natural history. But this watery empire is not permanent. The clock is ticking for both the hunter and the hunted. As the calendar slides into November, the great rains of the Llanos come to an abrupt, grinding halt. The intense tropical sun begins to bake the landscape, and the water, the very element that allowed these predators to expand their empires, begins a rapid, dramatic retreat. The vast inland sea evaporates inch by inch, day by day, leaving behind a scarred, parched wasteland of cracked clay and dust. The physical boundaries that once separated the land, the shallows, and the deep are about to dissolve completely. The golden highway of the jaguar is drying up, and a claustrophobic trap is tightening around every living thing in the floodplains. The stage is preparing for a much darker, much more dangerous chapter, where the predators of Venezuela will be forced to look each other in the eye in a desperate bid for the last remaining drops of life. The dark water of the Orinoco Basin does not reveal its secrets easily. To the casual observer, the surface of a flooded marsh appears entirely empty, save for the floating green carpets of water hyacinth and the occasional drift of dead wood. But if you look closer, at the edge of the submerged forest canopy, two small, dark, stone-like bumps break the surface. These are not pebbles, nor are they pieces of decaying bark. They are the highly elevated eyes and nostrils of the world's heaviest serpent, resting flush with the waterline. For millions of years, this creature has ruled the Venezuelan wetlands as a ghost, an invisible force that is felt long before it is seen. Yet, even as one of the most famous animals on Earth, this giant has spent eons hiding its true identity from the scientific community. In 2024, A groundbreaking genetic study shattered centuries of biological assumptions, proving that we did not truly know the giants sharing our planet. For generations, scientists believed that all green anacondas across South America belonged to a single, widespread species, Eunectes marinus. But when researchers analyzed genetic data across 9 different countries, they uncovered an incredible evolutionary secret. The green anacondas inhabiting the northern reaches of South America, specifically the Orinoco River basin of Venezuela and Colombia, are a completely distinct species. This newly recognized titan has been named the northern green anaconda, Eunectes acaima. This is not a minor subspecies variation. The genetic divergence between the northern green anaconda and its southern relative is a staggering 5.5%. To put that into perspective, humans and chimpanzees differ genetically by only about 1.2%. These two massive lineages of snakes separated approximately 10 million years ago, embarking on entirely different evolutionary trajectories while maintaining nearly identical outward appearances. It is a classic example of cryptic speciation, where nature finds a design so physically perfect that it refuses to alter the external blueprint, even as the genetic code completely drifts apart over an entire evolutionary epoch. The name Acaima is a beautiful tribute to the ancestral human history of the Llanos. Derived from the Caribbean languages of the indigenous nations who have shared these wetlands for millennia, Acai translates to snake, while the suffix ima denotes a different, almost mythological category of being. It literally translates to the great snake. In ancient Carib culture, Acaima is also the word used to describe the rainbow, a powerful celestial spirit believed to be a feathered serpent that rises from the swamps after torrential rains to dry its magnificent feathers. How does it make you feel to realize that even today, in the 21st century, a creature of such mythological scale and power can hide in plain sight right under the nose of modern science? Does it make you wonder what other prehistoric giants are still waiting to be discovered in the unexplored corners of our world? Share your theories in the comments section below. We read every single thought you post. To understand the sheer predatory dominance of the northern green anaconda, one must look at its physical scale. Adult females are the true giants of the species, averaging 13 to 16 feet in length, with the largest verified individuals reaching an incredible 20 to 23 feet. But while other snakes, like the reticulated python, may grow slightly longer, the anaconda's true weapon is its unparalleled girth and muscle mass. A mature female can easily weigh between 440 and 550 pounds. This is a creature built not of slender length, but of pure hydraulic power. When the wet season floods the Llanos, the anaconda's massive weight becomes completely weightless. It glides through the flooded canopy with effortless grace, using highly specialized thermosensory labial pits along its snout to navigate and hunt. These pits allow the snake to detect microfluctuations in thermal radiation, creating a vivid infrared map of its surroundings. Even in water so choked with mud that vision is entirely useless, or in the pitch-black darkness of a tropical night, the anaconda can easily see the warm heat signature of a capybara wading through the reeds. Once the thermal target is locked, the anaconda strikes with a speed that defies its massive body size. The strike is an explosive burst of kinetic energy. Backward curved teeth sink deep into the prey's flesh, acting as anchor points. Before the victim can even process the impact, the snake throws its massive, muscular coils around the body. The constriction process is not designed to crush bones, as popular myths suggest. Instead, it is a highly sophisticated cardiovascular vice. Each time the prey exhales, the anaconda's coils tighten just a fraction more, never loosening their grip. This relentless pressure compresses the blood vessels, arresting the flow of blood to the brain and vital organs, causing a rapid collapse of the circulatory system. After swallowing its prey whole, the anaconda's metabolic rate spikes dramatically, a physiological transformation where oxygen consumption can scale according to Kleiber's law. This rapid metabolic escalation allows the snake to dissolve entire skeletons, hooves, and teeth in a matter of weeks. Unlike most other snakes, the northern green anaconda does not lay eggs. To protect her offspring from the countless aquatic predators of the Llanos, the female gives live birth to a litter of 20 to 40 neonates. Each baby snake is born fully developed, independent, and armed with the exact same predatory instincts as its massive mother from the moment it touches the water. No lessons are passed down. Instinct is everything. Fossilized vertebrae discovered in Venezuela reveal that these anacondas achieved this colossal size and perfect physical design over 12 million years ago, remaining virtually unchanged ever since. But as the dry season begins to parch the landscape, this aquatic empress faces a terrifying evolutionary crisis. As the floodwaters rapidly evaporate, the vast swampy empire of the anaconda shrinks into a few isolated muddy pools. On dry land, the snake's massive 500-pound body becomes a heavy, clumsy burden. The water that once made it an invisible, weightless ghost now betrays it, compressing its entire population into the same claustrophobic mudholes occupied by desperate herds of capybaras and hungry jaguars. The hunter is about to become the hunted, and the ancient rules of the swamp are preparing to test this prehistoric giant to its absolute limits. If you are captivated by the incredible survival strategies of these ancient giants, take a moment to hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to World Uncovered so we can continue documenting these extraordinary biomes together. While the shallows are ruled by the cryptic coils of the serpent, the deep, fast-flowing river channels of the Orinoco Basin belong to a colossus of prehistoric design. This is a realm where size is the ultimate deterrent, and no creature embodies this physical absolute more than the critically endangered Orinoco crocodile. Tracing its lineage back over 240 million years, this massive reptile is a living relic of the Mesozoic era, having survived the extinction event that wiped out the dinosaurs. Exceptionally large males can exceed 6 meters in length and reach a massive weight of 900 kilograms. To witness such a colossus hauled out on a sandy river beach is to look directly back into deep geological time. Unlike the broader, heavier snouts of the caimans that share these rivers, the Orinoco crocodile possesses a highly streamlined, narrow snout. This unique shape is a masterpiece of natural engineering, designed to minimize water resistance when the reptile sweeps its jaws sideways to capture prey. By reducing the surface area that pushes against the heavy current, the crocodile can slice through the water with lightning speed, catching fast-moving fish and swimming mammals before they can register the danger. This incredible physical design allows a half-ton giant to operate with the agility of a creature a fraction of its size. The head of the Orinoco crocodile appears smoother and more elongated than other crocodilians, lacking the pronounced, bony ridges over the eyes that define its smaller cousin, the spectacled caiman. Armed with 68 sharp, interlocking teeth, its jaw is built for an absolute grip. Because it is a true crocodile, its physical distinction is marked by a prominent fourth tooth on each side of the lower jaw, which remains clearly visible even when its mouth is tightly closed. Yet, this river giant is hovering on the absolute edge of extinction. Decades of historical poaching for the international leather trade decimated its global numbers, leaving viable populations restricted to highly isolated sanctuaries like Hato Gaza. How does it make you feel to realize that a giant that survived the dinosaurs could be brought to the brink of total annihilation by the modern leather industry? Share your thoughts in the comments below. It is a sobering reminder of our impact on these ancient species. As the deep rivers give way to the shrinking seasonal wetlands, the Orinoco crocodile must share its watery kingdom with another armored titan of the deep, the black caiman. Reaching lengths of up to 6 meters and weighing 590 kilograms, the black caiman is the absolute heavyweight of its family. Its physical appearance is defined by its dark, charcoal black hide, which serves as a highly efficient solar panel. In the scorching heat of the Venezuelan savannas, this dark skin rapidly absorbs thermal energy from the sun, fueling the cold-blooded predator's metabolic rate and giving it the burst of energy it needs to hunt. At night, this dark coloration transforms the caiman into an invisible phantom, allowing it to glide silently through the pitch-black water to ambush unsuspecting prey. It is a stunning duality. By day, a sluggish, heat-absorbing statue. By night, a swift, lethal shadow from which nothing within reach is safe. Yet, even for a predator of this magnitude, the cycle of life begins with extreme vulnerability. Ecological studies have revealed that the black caiman faces its greatest threats before it even hatches. Approximately 32% of all monitored caiman nests are targeted and destroyed by opportunistic egg predators, including hungry jaguars, large tegu lizards, and humans. To combat this devastating loss, the female caiman is a fiercely devoted mother, staying coiled near her nest of decaying vegetation for up to 90 days, ready to defend her future offspring against the very predators she will later hunt. Would you ever dare to approach a nesting site guarded by a mother of this size? Or do you respect the absolute boundary she draws in the mud? Let us know in the comments if you think any wild animal is brave enough to face her. Deep within the same submerged channels, navigating the maze of flooded tree trunks, resides a non-reptilian giant that has mastered the art of survival through a completely different physical design, the arapaima. Reaching lengths of up to 3 meters and weighing 225 kilograms, this prehistoric fish is one of the largest freshwater species in existence. Its body is encased in a highly advanced, flexible armor of overlapping scales, engineered with a hard outer layer and a tough, flexible inner core. This structural design is so sophisticated that it easily resists the razor-sharp teeth of swarming piranhas, a biological defense mechanism that modern science is actively studying to develop lightweight protective gear for human use. However, the arapaima's extraordinary survival strategy carries a fatal evolutionary twist. Because it inhabits oxygen-poor lagoons where most other fish suffocate, the arapaima has modified its swim bladder into a lung-like organ, making it an obligate air breather. It is a fish that must breathe atmospheric air to survive. If kept submerged for too long, it will drown in the very water that sustains it. Every 10 to 20 minutes, the arapaima must break the surface, releasing an echoing gasp that resonates across the silent wetlands as it replenishes its oxygen. This respiratory requirement is both a biological masterpiece and a lethal curse. While it allows the arapaima to dominate stagnant pools where competitors perish, its loud surfacing behavior betrays its exact coordinates to every hunting caiman, jaguar, and human fisher nearby. This delicate balance of risk and reward is the core theme of the floodplains. Beneath its heavy armor, the arapaima is also a remarkably nurturing parent. The male guards the nests, while the female patrols the perimeter. Once the eggs hatch, the tiny offspring swim in a dense, dark cloud directly around the father's head, guided by specialized chemicals secreted from his scalp. Through innovative, community-led conservation initiatives involving local indigenous populations, some regions have seen arapaima populations recover by a staggering 400% over a decade, demonstrating that the survival of these ancient giants relies entirely on human cooperation. Now, as the dry season reaches its peak, the water that once provided an infinite highway of escape has turned into a desperate prison. The deep river channels of the Orinoco, the isolated pools of the Llanos, and the flooded forests have collapsed into a singular, muddy battlefield. The Orinoco crocodile, the black caiman, and the arapaima are forced into direct, claustrophobic contact with the drying land's rulers. The boundaries are gone, and the ultimate climax of this seasonal warfare is about to unfold. If you want to see these ancient titans continue to rule these wild rivers, hit that like button, share this video with fellow nature lovers, and make sure you are subscribed to World Uncovered so you do not miss the final showdown. The dry season of the Llanos reaches its absolute scorching peak. The vast, flooded inland sea that once allowed the predators of Venezuela to expand their empires has evaporated, leaving behind a scarred, cracked landscape of parched clay and dust. In this unforgiving heat, the boundaries that once separated the land, the shallows, and the deep are completely gone. Life is now compressed into a few isolated, stagnant mud pools, turning the remaining water into a boiling cauldron of raw survival. Around these shrinking watering holes, the great apex predators of Venezuela are forced into an uneasy, claustrophobic truce that can shatter at any moment. The jaguar patrols the dusty bank, its golden eyes tracking every ripple in the shallow mud. In the center of the pool, a massive black caiman floats like a charred log, its dark skin absorbing the relentless tropical sun. At the muddy margin, partially buried in the drying clay, lies the massive, muscular body of a female northern green anaconda. This is the ultimate predator triangle. The sovereign of the land, the ruler of the shallows, and the giant of the deep, all locked in a space no larger than a backyard. Have you ever wondered what happens when the absolute masters of the wild are forced into such close, desperate contact? If you were standing at the edge of this drying pool, which of these three titans would you fear the most? Drop your vote in the comments below. The physical and behavioral differences between these hunters make for an incredibly tight debate. In this dry trap, encounters between these predators are highly reciprocal, and the line between hunter and prey is constantly redrawn. While the northern green anaconda is fully capable of constricting and consuming adult spectacled caimans, the tables are frequently turned. Long-term ecological field studies in the Llanos have documented that large caimans are significant predators of anacondas, particularly smaller males and subadults. Indeed, herpetologists, examining deceased male anacondas in the region, have found deep, circular bite marks matching the size and position of caiman teeth, indicating that a significant portion of male anaconda mortality is caused directly by fatal crocodilian attacks. It is a constant, deadly wrestling match. If the serpent cannot lock its suffocating coils around the caiman's head and neck, the crocodilian's crushing teeth will splinter its skull. Conversely, if a jaguar spots a caiman stranded too far from the safety of the water, the big cat will launch a lightning-fast ambush from the dry brush, driving its thick canines directly through the reptile's temporal bones for an instantaneous kill. In this parched arena, survival is a game of inches, and a single mistake means becoming a meal for a rival. But the story of Venezuela's wild heart does not end in the muddy, blood-stained plains of the Orinoco. To truly understand the incredible diversity of this landscape, one must lift their eyes to the southeast, where the flat savannas abruptly give way to towering sandstone monoliths that thrust directly into the clouds. These are the tepuis, known in the ancestral Pemon language as the House of the Gods. Standing as giant, flat-topped table mountains, the tepuis are some of the oldest geologic formations on Earth, remnants of a massive sandstone plateau that rests on a 3-billion-year-old granite basement rock. Over 180 million years of tectonic uplift and relentless erosion have carved this plateau apart, leaving behind isolated vertical summits that rise thousands of feet above the surrounding rainforest. At the heart of Canaima National Park, a pristine wilderness larger than the country of Belgium, rises Ollantaytambo. From the sheer, heart-shaped cliffs of this massive table mountain, the tallest waterfall on Earth plunges into the abyss. Angel Falls, or Salto Angel, drops an astonishing 979 meters, a spectacular thread of white water that is 19 times higher than Niagara Falls. The scale of this drop is so immense that much of the water evaporates into a fine, billowing mist before it can even touch the jungle floor below. If you were standing at the very edge of Ollantaytambo, looking down into the roaring mist of the world's tallest waterfall, would you feel a sense of absolute insignificance or a profound connection to the deep history of our planet? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. No photograph can ever truly capture the raw scale of this ancient place. Because the summits of the tepuis have been geographically isolated for millions of years, they have become evolutionary islands, home to unique plants and animals that exist nowhere else on Earth. The constant, torrential rain washes away the organic matter, leaving the summit soils severely depleted of nutrients. To survive in this wet desert, life has taken highly creative paths. The endemic marsh pitcher plant, Heliamphora, has completely reversed the rules of botanical survival. It lures crawling ants with a sweet, nectar-producing spoon at the top of its tubular leaves. When the insects climb up to feed, they slip on the incredibly slick inner walls and fall into a pool of digestive fluid at the bulbous bottom of the pitcher. Lacking a lid to block the daily rain, the plant utilizes a unique frontal slit to drain excess rainwater, ensuring its digestive enzymes are never washed away. Alongside these carnivorous plants lives a tiny creature that has abandoned the traditional mechanics of amphibian survival, the tepui bush toad, Oreofrenella. This miniature, pitch-black toad cannot swim, and its thin, delicate legs are entirely useless for jumping. Instead, it uses opposable digits to climb the sandstone rocks. When a predator, like a large spider, corners the toad on a sheer cliff face, the tiny amphibian deploys a defense strategy unlike any other on Earth. It curls its body into a tight, rigid ball, mimicking a small pebble, and rolls down the vertical rock crevices to safety. Because of its light weight, it bounces harmlessly off the ancient sandstone, landing far from the reach of its attacker. On these cloud-covered summits, survival is defined not by raw power, but by exquisite specialization. Yet, even these isolated sanctuaries are no longer safe from the reach of modern humanity. Today, the pristine ecosystems of southern Venezuela face a silent, devastating threat. Driven by economic pressure, the Orinoco mining arc has opened up a massive strategic development zone south of the Orinoco River, covering 12% of the nation's territory. This policy has sparked an uncontrolled gold rush that has breached the boundaries of protected areas, including Canaima National Park. Dozens of illegal open-pit mining clusters have flourished in these ancient forests, some operating just miles from the drop of Angel Falls. The environmental cost of this mining boom is catastrophic. Illegal miners utilize toxic mercury to separate gold from gold ore, releasing massive quantities of the heavy metal directly into the pristine waterways. The mercury poisons the fish, which are the primary dietary staple for local indigenous communities and endangered river giants alike. Deforestation and sediment runoff choke the rivers, turning clear currents into muddy, stagnant channels where aquatic life suffocates and the food web collapses. Emblematic species like the giant otter, the pink river dolphin, and the critically endangered Orinoco crocodile are losing their last clean sanctuaries to this toxic trade, threatening genetic lineages that took millions of years to create. Venezuela represents a biological treasury that our planet simply cannot afford to lose. As these pristine habitats fracture under the pressures of human greed, the silence that settles over the Llanos and the tepuis is not just a natural transition, it is an alarm. Most digital spectators will scroll past this warning, choosing to remain passive observers to the quiet destruction of our world's most beautiful biomes. But for the few who recognize their moral responsibility to defend these ancient systems, subscribing to World Uncovered, liking this video, and sharing it with others is more than just support. It is an active commitment to keeping these extraordinary voices alive. To continue exploring the magnificent secrets of our natural world, select the next analysis appearing on your screen now. The cycle of water will continue to turn, but the question remains, when the next great flood comes to reclaim the Llanos, who will still be there to claim the throne?